Welcome to a new Factorio series. My name is Nilaus, and this is a series that will only sort of make guest appearances here on YouTube because it is primarily or predominantly or exclusively a Twitch series, and that means it's running on my Twitch channel. It's running Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays at 8 p.m. Central European Time. It's at Twitch TV/Nilaus, and I really encourage you to drop on by. If the time doesn't fit you and you want to watch the VODs will be available on my second YouTube channel, Nilaus TV, link in the description after a while, but otherwise they will be available on Twitch in the VOD section. I'll be doing here on my main channel, I'll be doing the weekly recaps to tell you the story of how we're progressing, what the challenges are, what's next, so that if you either can't join or missed some things, then you will easily be caught up. Or if you just sort of don't really feel like it, but kind of want to get like a weekly update on the shenanigans that's happening in this space, then by all means, then that is why we have this weekly recap. Now, let's talk a bit about the concept. Since this is the first episode, there is going to be less progress. I will be sort of fast forwarding through the progress of the first live stream. But this one, since it's first, it's really important that we get the concept of the space sorted out. So the concept is, in general, there is a ribbon world. So it's only 192 tiles high. That's 6 chunks. That means, and I chose that because that prevents me from doing sort of my normal base, my big bus base and lots of big trains and city blocks, that kind of thing. And I want to do something different. And I think you also want to watch me do something different. So what happens is that it's cut off here to the west, it's cut off top, it's cut off bottom, and we can only expand eastbound here. And then we have, of course, since this will actually force me to expand because first of all, I don't have room and I don't have resources, so I gotta expand towards one side and one side only. So that's what's gonna happen. So it's gonna be a really interesting concept and something I haven't done before. So I'm looking forward to that. But there will be more, because there will be a Twitch integration. Since this is happening on Twitch, then the beautiful, lovely, awesome moderators of my community have been putting together a number of mods that work directly with anything that goes on Twitch. So subscriptions, gift subs, bits, donations, all that kind of thing, hype trains, all that stuff has impact directly into the game immediately. And that is a super fun thing to play with. Now, the way that it works is basically, viewers can decide if they want to help or hurt. So a subscription will help me by, and I can do that here, by making, you can see these purple dots here. That means these chunks here are unavailable to me. I can't build in that area. And if I try to build here, then it's just not possible. So what I need to do is unlock them, and then for every 10 subs, one of these unlock, and then I can sort of, I'll expand according to sort of the subscriptions that are coming in, which is super cool. So that means if you want to help, you can subscribe to the channel, and then I could get more space. That means I can sort of be constrained on how much space I have, and I can't just make a train line all the way out to some nice juicy material. I have to use what I have available. Pretty cool idea, I think. Also then bits or donations will actually hurt, and that will be dropping bombs around me, and then I'll have to sort of run away and then repair all the stuff that's being done. That was one of the things we did in our previous bombs and biters, and it was super fun, and people enjoyed it way too much. So that's now also something that happens. Now, also there's a massive integration for hype trains, but that's more interesting to see that once we have a bit of base going. So I will be showing you the progress of the base, and then at the end I'll be showing you the Twitch hype train integration and show you each examples of each of those impacts, so you can see what that actually is. So let's dive in to see how we actually progress with the space. This is of course where we start, and the resources we have available are just normal starting resources, and there is no oil available, but we'll hope there's some oil out here. We can see the first little glimmer of coal. Resources out in the wild are quite rich, because since I'm constrained to a ribbon world, then I won't be able to do much in terms of well, when I finally find something, I want to make sure that it's actually worth mining. Now, let's jump forward 1 hour and just look at where we are at that point to see how we're doing. So here we are 1 hour into the game, and I am no speedrunner, as you could probably tell, but I have my way of working. We set up our start little basic mining for iron, stone, coal, and copper. Once we have that, we can start making the first little power plant over here, and then we can start making some green circuits, some belts, and some very rough red signs. Once we have that done, then we can start turning that material into an actual jumpstart base, and we can see here that the first thing I prioritize for the jumpstart base is getting the iron inbound so that I can start making more of the stuff that I need, such as the belts and undergrounds. So with that belts and undergrounds built, then we can start using those materials to get the copper inbound, which will be the next. And then we can set up, when we have iron and copper, then we can start to get in the whole thing, and we can get the science converted into this location. So that is basically what we've done in the first hour, and I'm going to use my blueprints, and then we'll be progressing from here with these blueprints and trying to sort of make a little compact base. Let's jump over it and see what happens in the next hour as we complete the jumpstart base. And here we are, so we can see that some structures are starting to look a bit more familiar. We have some large power poles that indicate some structure. We have our jumpstart base is now fully completed, and we're just working our way through all of the red and green signs. We will easily be able to get all the red and green signs here in no problem. And we also have a car, so every power pole in the world is now very much unsafe. We've tried to build this as much as we can, but you can also now see one of the integrations. If I go up here, that is what happens when people donate to the chat. Then a random bomb will drop somewhere, and then I'll have to go fix up whatever has broken. And in this case, I've also set up a constraint so that it cannot happen more than every 5 minutes. So that's why there's 6 more bombs in queue that will then be blowing up every 5 minutes or so. And you can see that they are not as they're not taking like a huge area out, but they can still be pretty severe if they drop down in the middle of something like power or mining, or just hitting just a critical power pole somewhere. That's also interesting. Now at this point, if we sort of zoom out and look at our base at this point, you can see we've been pushing out here because of the subscriptions. Then we've gotten more area. We've cleared out the coal here, so that is available. And we expanded our power plant, and we have our jumpstart base working just fine. And what we also do is, you can see here, we start having this. And what I want to do is, and this is talk a bit about structure. I want to do a city blocks because I like to have city blocks in terms of sort of, this is where we have things. But I have then reserved some space on the top and at the bottom. The top part will be for trains going back and forth. So I'll basically have a train base. I won't be having like a major bus, but I'll be having places, I don't know, such as this place where I just have a block that's nearby that will do all of the iron smelting, and then I'll bring the iron plates into somewhere else. Maybe do one iron and one steel or something to that effect, and then bring that into wherever we feel we need it. And that will basically be sort of the concept of the base, and trying to squeeze in some trains here, and probably also eventually some trains here. But I'm going to need to get some of the space down here and use that, because what is most important is that we only have this iron patch. So I'm going to need to get this iron patch to supply everything until we get over here. And I want to scale up. So the next thing I want to do is I want to start getting as much out of this iron patch as possible, so that we can get sort of, everything is iron constrained in the beginning. So that's what we want to do, and then we can start working towards our hub. So let's jump forward and see how our expansion is progressing. Now here, after the third hour, we can see that we have started to attack the enemies outside of our claimed domain. This is what it looks like. And also, if I try to build something in here, it just isn't possible. And we now have something that seems more familiar. We have a nice path here that takes us all the way back to our base, and we can then have a look at what the state of our base is at this point. Here, the little jumpstart base is still chugging along, but we've now expanded it with a more iron production, or iron smelting, and steel smelting as well. And I've tried to restructure my iron base so it is as efficient as possible to get as much out of this patch as possible. And it's not going to last forever, but hopefully it'll last long enough for us to get over to this one, and hopefully also establish some trains and that kind of thing at that location, which is going to be the objective. We're starting to make a bit of landfill, because we are going to need to get some landfill out here. If we go out here, that is going to be our next objective, is to take this part, or the iron, or the copper, or the iron, or the steel, Then we're going to be leaching some copper from this line and leaching some green circuits from this line. I'll put it over into this, well, let's call it what it is. It is city block that we will need to clear, and that will be where we need to build the hub for just to sort of phase out already now our starter base. But I'm not going to phase out the starter base until we have done all we need to do to for all of the red and green science. So once we're done with red and green science, I don't know what we're going to do about military science, but let's see. I don't need that much military science at this point. So you can see base is still growing, and it's progressing. We are almost done with our, well, there's still a bit of red and green science left, but not much. And we started to put up some defenses just in case. And let's look at the end of the stream and then talk a bit about what is going to happen moving forward, what my upcoming plans are, as well as go into the details of how the hype train interaction works. Now our base has grown up and is a lot more, well, mature. What we're doing here is we are taking our usual blueprints from our masterclasses, the hub 1, 2, and 3, building them in here, and we've been putting some iron lines. We take those from here, we put some steel lines in here, and we get the copper line. We're just leaching it off here. It's not going to be a lot, but it'll be just enough to get it going. The green circuits are also being leached off of this. I'll be expanding it as I transition out of this this base. But at this point, I feel pretty confident that we're doing pretty well. What we miss is one important thing, and that's getting the stone in here. We're getting stone bricks, but not stone itself. We need the stone in here because otherwise we can't build any rails, and rails is probably going to be one of the next big things that we want to do, because now we have sort of all the things we want to do right now, or we need for oil and oil processing, trains and train processing. All of the stuff that we need is now available in our little base, and that means we can start working on the next parts. So you can see the base is working. I have my jumpstart here, and we have our hub here. Then the next one might be military science. It might be, I don't know, it could be anything we want. And over here, this is oil coming in. So this one is probably going to be the oil part. And then we'll have some iron and steel coming off later. And then we'll have to start dealing with the biters out here. We do have, now we can see extra patches of everything out here. So that's good. So that will get us pretty far into the game. It actually is kind of surprising high amount. We probably will not need all of this, but we'll mine it all. We'll keep going, and that will be sort of what we need to go from here. Now at this point, I'm pretty happy that what we made on the first 4-hour stream, and we now have something that's functional. It's easy for us to grab things. We're gonna get oil, plastic, cliff explosives. Oh yes, and red circuits. Blue science, that's going to be the next objective, as well as start setting up some kind of train system up here. I want to make sure that we have this space here for trains, and I probably need to go sort of inside the city block for trains on this side. I don't know what I'm going to do with trains down here. I'm kind of thinking that this one will be for freight trains, and this will be for PAX trains and, well, other stuff. I might also have made the mistake of just putting it, I put the city block in the middle. I should maybe have put it further down, just because I don't need the space down here for very much. In any case, it's just the way it is. We'll try to make it work, and if not, it doesn't work, then we'll make some changes to it. The next thing that I want to show is the hype train integration. So first, hype train is a special event on Twitch, where if someone donates or subscribes, sort of multiple people in a short sequence of time, starts a hype train and can reach level 5. So the more activity there is, the higher the level goes, and well, it's fun. And I wanted to give some kind of reward to the people who were participating the most in those, and that basically means that at the end of a hype train there will be a winner, a conductor of the hype train, who on the bids side, and one on the subscription side. So what I have here is a level, depending on level 1 through 5. Then you can choose a buff. These are the good buffs, and these are the bad debuffs. So basically we're going to go through all of them, and I'm going to show you how they work. And this is just an absolute amazing piece of work from the moderators on putting this together based on sort of my sketchy ideas, and putting it together over about a week's time. So let's start with level 1. If you choose a good level 1, then you can it'll remove pollution and decrease the evolution factor like that. And the evolution factor has decreased by 5 percentage points. So that's like giving us just a bit of reprieve from the pollution that spreads out, and also just lowering the pollution if it gets a bit dangerous. Now the no handcrafting, I'm going to reset debuff. You can see we are handcrafting here. But if the level 1 is chosen, then it is no handcrafting. And the way it works is that if I start trying to handcraft like this, you can see that I am handcrafting, but it just lists it up here and nothing happens. It's not like I can't do it. It's just that my crafting speed is minus 100%. Pretty clever way of doing it. Now, in terms of the level 2, then that is 1 free research. That will be the cheapest research that we have available, and that will just be completed. The cheapest research that we haven't started work on at all is going to be the one that gets there. So right now it's not that much, but hey, it's nice to get Electric Engine 1, especially because I don't think we could actually get Electric Engine 1. If I look at notes, look at that. We actually got a science completed that we didn't have the prerequisites for. So that's pretty cool that it can work like that. But it also means that later on, if you can sort of select it, then you could get some really cool, expensive researches. And now let's look at the next one. This is interesting. So if you choose the level 2, also I'm going to look at evolution as well. Evolution is now 114. And if I do trees everywhere, then it just spawns trees everywhere, and it increases debuff, increases the biter evolution by 5%. So that is nightmarish, to say the least. That is basically enemies everywhere. We all know trees are the true enemies, and that means someone has to go around chopping things to clean up the base again. It may be later on it's not going to be that big of a deal because we have we have robots to clean it up, but at this point, damn, it just ruins my entire base. But, you know, I wanted to show you how it works. Oh, by the way, the no handcrafting, by the way, it's lasting until the next hype train. Then it gets reset. The next one is faster character. Is level 3 positive. And what it does, it increases running speed by 10%, crafting speed, handcrafting speed by 10%, and adds 10% inventory slots. So that's pretty neat to get some of the things. The level 3 negative, you can see they get more powerful as they get higher levels. It just spawns spiders somewhere in my line of sight, inside the radar area. I was lucky here, it could have been like right on top of that. And it spawns 5 spider nests immediately. And since pollution is, well, actually pollution just got reset and we have more trees, so they're not going to be eating pollution right now. But that could be a problem, particularly if we're far away and this is a ribbon world and suddenly they spawn in the middle of my base and start munching on the inner workings of the base, because there is just no way of defending. Now, if this was something that happened all the time, I would put turrets everywhere, but since this is a rare occasion, then it doesn't really make sense to protect against it. It'll just be like, oh damn, it happened. Back to this, that was the bad one. And then level 4 positive is a permanent buff. These buffs are permanent. Permanent buff of 10% mining productivity. It's not mining speed, it's mining productivity, research speed, and robot speed by 10%. And you can see those are up here. This has already been selected twice, so you can see that it makes a big difference, particularly for the mining productivity, because that's going to be something we are going to need a lot of. And then if we look at this, 411, if you want to be really nasty against my base, then you can just reduce all of the resources available that's being mined by 10%, like that. And that's now down to 370. That maybe doesn't seem like much, but if we start tapping this one and that's 12 million, then suddenly we lose 1.2 million just like that. And yeah, that's of course it's 10% of whatever is remaining, so that if there isn't a lot remaining, it doesn't take a lot. If there is a lot remaining, it doesn't take as much. And the last one's the level 5. Well, those are the biggest buffs and debuffs, and this one will spawn a new ore patch. Boom, 5 million ore patch somewhere in the area that we have discovered. Pretty nice. And there is some kind of pseudo-random chance of this that favors iron and copper, and de-emphasizes uranium, but it could happen that there will be some uranium spawning at some point. And the last one, you can see here the bomb strength is 20, and that will just add... Hey, why did that not add? Why did that not add? That's weird. Ah, bugs! Why did it not add bomb strength? Well, it should be. Oh, maybe that's because I'm running on a local copy. But in any case, when increasing the bomb strength, it goes up here and the bombs get bigger. Now it's something that's a permanent buff that they get bigger. So every time that we get a level 5 hype train, or when we get a level 5 hype train, then it actually is possible that the bombs get bigger. We've done this before where it actually ended up taking out an entire city block. So it's more of a sort of a long-term thing. Maybe like that 5% doesn't do much at this point, but over time it just becomes from just, and initially it was destroying like this much, now it's destroying this much, and then sort of takes out more and more of the base. And this is of course the hub that is the most vulnerable part, where we had an explosion. You can see it is still here. That took out all of our belts and undergrounds and red belts and red undergrounds in one explosion. Oh, and also our red splitters as well. All that just got taken out in one bomb. So yeah, thank you. So that's how this hype train works, and it just adds a bit of a color and just a challenge to the run by having these kind of things. Oh man, it's so awful to look at all of the trees everywhere. That's probably like the most annoying thing, because it spawns everywhere. You can see it's everywhere that it gets spawned. So yeah, so as you can see, this I'm really happy with what we've come up with for this base. It's going to be a bit of a spaghetti mess in the beginning, and hopefully it'll be cleaned up as we progress. That is at least the intention. And there'll be lots of challenges both with biters and bombs. Primarily the bombs will be the most dangerous part, and that's dropping regularly during our live stream. So that is super awesome, and thank you everyone for participating and engaging, so that it can be a fun series. Now, the objective of the series, I don't really know. It's definitely going to be launching rockets, but I don't know. There's no mega base thing, because this is a bit of a silly thing with all of these integrations that can sort of add a massive bonuses and debuffs. That means it's not really comparable to a normal run, even though it is completely vanilla in all the recipes and stuff. Thank you very much for watching this episode. If you find this to be interesting, remember that I am streaming this on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays at 8 p.m. Central European Time over on Twitch TV/Nilaus. Feel free to drop by. It's super cool to see new people coming in and saying hi for the first time. If live streaming is not your thing, then there are of course these weekly recaps, and of course if you want VODs, then they are also available on the VOD channel Nilaus TV. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Until then, take care, and as always, stay effective.